G'day, it's Robbie again. Well, in that last product review I did, where I reviewed this cheap set of metric thread taps and a little tea piece, the tea holder, I was pretty impressed with it, and it was an amazing buy, I thought, at the time. And it's got even cheaper. I mean, they're now going for $4.43 Australian delivered for the whole set. I mean, $4.43, that's unbelievable. Anyway, regardless of that, it was a good buy, and yeah, generated a bit of interest. The only one, well, there were two downsides with the product. One was that the little crossbar which goes in here, there's nothing to stop it sliding backwards and forwards, and it can slide across to these little tabs which let it, stay in position but off centre. So I put a little grub screw of some sort. In the end, I actually used a little Allen-headed bolt, stainless steel, and that just pinches the bar and keeps it centred, which is what you want. You want it to be fixed. Also, when it was advertised as having in a write-up as having a ratchet head on it, and I thought, a ratchet-headed T-bar. I've never seen one of those. Didn't know they made such a thing. Because I've only ever used the fixed sort, and I've got this big one here, which I showed in the video, which is a P&N, a quality one, and once again it's fixed, so you know, screw it in, screw it out, nothing to change, it's all fixed. So I thought, that's interesting, I didn't know, they made them. Anyway, it turned out this is not a ratchet head at all. It was a mistake in a glitch in the advertising, the write-up. So it's just a standard, fixed unit, and at the end of the day, it's still a marvellous buy. Anyway, I did the video, and a few people got back and said, "Hey Rob, you can actually buy ratchet T-pieces." And I thought, "Oh, can you?" I'd never seen one, and I'd done a lot of tapping. My father was a mechanic, and he'd done a lot, and it turns out that, yeah, you can buy them, and they're actually like those reversible screwdrivers. They've got a little sliding tab on them. So I thought, I wonder if Banggood actually got those. So I had a look, and they do. And I'll show you basically what they've got, and we can compare them to this. Once again, they're pretty good value, so I'll show you the two they sent me and explain what they are. First off, they have this unit, and this is the ratchet head, the crossbar, and the same thread taps exactly as in the previous review, and they basically go from M8 down to M3, and there's no M7 because M7's an odd size. So it's a good handy set of tap sizes for the workshop, particularly for small jobs. And anyway, as I said, they were cheap, and this particular set cost you $9.47 Australian. So they're basically twice the price of previous set, but the T-bar is a lot heavier, and it's also got a ratchet head, and once again it's stainless steel, and it seems to be quite a nice unit. Now, as well as doing that one, they do the same thing, but instead of using the plain alloy taps, you get titanium coated taps. Same number, same sizes, but they're titanium coated. Now, for the titanium coating, you pay an extra $1 basically. So they're $10.67. So that's $10.67 Australian for the titanium ones versus the $9.47 for the plain ones. Not a lot of difference. Whether the titanium actually does anything is debatable. I've had titanium coated drills, and quite frankly, I don't really see the point, but anyway, it's a choice. And once again, it's good value, I think, for what you get, particularly as, the whole T-piece is quite a bit bigger than the earlier really cheap set, the under $5 one. And I'll show you how they vary. Okay, so you can see the difference in size. They're they're quite different. This one's twice as big at least. And also what I like about this one is that they've notched the crossbar, because this has actually got a ball bearing pressure point in the head, which basically will click into each of these depressions, and it also holds it in the middle fairly well. You could actually machine a depression in the middle if you've got a lathe, and that would be better. That would just notch it into that one position, because yeah, you don't really want to use these off center. You know, they should sit in like that, not have it hanging out here somewhere like they plan on doing here. So there should really be a depression in the middle to make it perfect. But as it is, the ball pressure is enough that it keeps it central fairly well anyway. So let's have a closer look at this unit. Right, here it is with the crossbar in, and you can see it's quite firm. It's actually, that's quite usable like that. It's not going to slide around. The ball pressure, the detent in the centre is actually quite strong pressure. You can come over and go into the notch. But I mean, you wouldn't want to use a T-wrench like that for tapping, because you're pulling one way and a good chance of breaking small taps. So the tap should always be, the handle should always, in the T-piece should always be in the middle. Now, once again, it's got a ratchet action. So we're screwing it in here, screwing it out there, the same as a screwdriver. Quick acting, easy to work. The worry with these ratchets was how much movement you're going to put in changing direction, bearing in mind that you're going to have the tap in the metal, and if it's a small tap and you're moving this around too much, you could snap it. But this actually slides very easily, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. You'd grip it down the bottom anyway while you did it. Yep. Pretty good. So I like what I see actually. It's quite well made, stainless steel, and yeah, I think that's quite a good setup, the way they've done it. I'd be quite happy with that. I don't think it needs to be any more rigid than that. That's not going to move around in normal use. So I suppose the next thing is to drill some holes and try it out. But as I said, you can see how it compares to the cheaper model, and you can also see how it compares to the ones you get in the little cheap sets. That's even thinner. I mean, these are really hard on your fingers. I don't like them at all. Once you go into the bath, floats around. Pretty horrible. So I never use that. I always use the big P&N that I showed you earlier. But this is a good size that fits the blokey hands quite well. You can get a good grip on that, and everything is just comes into position nicely. You know, you're not reaching all over the place. It's good. I'm pretty impressed with what I see, particularly for the money, because if you buy these in brand name, and this is an exact copy from what I can see of brand name, you'd pay 5 to 10 times more for just this unit without any taps at all. So yeah, it seems like damn good value to me. Okay, we'll move on. Right, now the middle position on this little slide, I should have explained, is where you put it so that you can unscrew the end and get your tap in. Otherwise, you know, if you didn't have that to lock the spindle, you'd never get a tap in there. So yeah, simple. This goes in. Picture up. So you're ready to go. Pretty nifty, isn't it? I really do like what I see here. Okay, let's put it through some steel. Right, I've drilled a couple of holes in some hard steel here. It's a bit harder than mild, We're going to use a 5mm tap, and these are 4.5mm holes. Alright, so that's the right size. 4.5, 4.3. It's a matter now of see how this cheap tap goes. I found these taps, in the previous video to be really good. It was pretty hard to drill this stuff, but yeah, this is going well. These really do cut through nicely. Pretty surprising, really. Look at that, it's nearly through. Gee, this works great. It's through. Gee, that was great, really good. .32. So yeah, that went well. Alright, now to back it out, normally you just, on the fixed one you just unscrew, but on this one, yeah, that comes back easy. Oh, that works beautiful. That is a trick. That is really good. Yeah, I like this. This is great. And the bar didn't move around a hell of a lot. That seems pretty good. It didn't move at all, actually. Alright, we'll try the other hole with the titanium coated one and see what difference, if any, there is. Looking at these taps, you can see there's a difference in them. The titanium ones are shorter in the thread cutting section. Overall, they start here, but they're less there. I personally would just buy the ordinary ones because I've used this titanium stuff before and never been impressed, but it's up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, it looks good. It's a bit like fishing gear, fishing tackle, they make it look good and bright so that it catches the fisherman more than the fish. So it's up to you. Alright, let's see how this goes. Titanium. Doesn't seem. Oh, it doesn't seem to want to start as well as the plain ones. Not very. No. Doesn't want to go in very well. Alright, we'll try the plain one again. Oh look, that just bites straight in. Oh, no problem. Look at that. Not mad on those titanium ones. That definitely not as good as this. No. Nope, I cannot recommend the titanium ones, but I can certainly recommend the cheaper alloy steel ones. No problem whatsoever. So there you have it. You've seen that with your own eyes. Now, give these a miss. Go for these. Top unit. These are good. These are really good. Yeah, there you have it, guys. Not what you expect at times. I thought the titanium ones would perform, okay, but I just couldn't get that damn thing started. It was just skidding around and makes you wonder whether the coating takes a bit off the edge or not. Oh yeah, that feels a lot sharper. Way sharper. So maybe you lose a bit when they coat them, you know, because they'd have to coat these after they've ground them. And I mean, it's obviously going to put something over the cutting edge, you know. No, that's the one you want. These are good. Excellent. Let's try it with the M6. I'll do the titanium first and we'll see how it goes in this. This is hard steel, but even so, it should tap in. It's going, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as smooth as the cutting action of the plain one. We'll finish off with the plain one. That feels quite rough. You can feel, you know, you can tell how they're cutting. And look, the titanium's coming off already. Oh dear. Alright, we'll go in with this one. A bit more. Oh, that just cuts so much better. That is 1,000,000% better. Ideally for this size tap, you should really use a holder like this. Bigger to be even better, because this, you know, obviously this is going to put a fair bit of pressure on your hand, whereas the longer you've got, the more leverage. But we're testing these units and this does the job, and this particular plain carbon or plain alloy tap just handles this like nothing else. It's no problem whatsoever. I can't say the same for the titanium. And you know, as I said, look at that. It's rubbing off already. We'll take it out. I'll show you one other thing I don't like about the titanium ones. You can see that the actual gripping section which goes into the end of the holder, the T-piece, is a lot shorter on this, so this has got a lot more chance of wobbling around in the chuck, because the chuck will grip full length on that, but it'll only grip, well, 2/3 on that. So that is really not very good design the way that's done. So once again, this is the set that you should be looking at, in my opinion. Okay, there you have it, guys. I can't be more honest than that. This is an excellent set. This, no. I don't like these taps at all, really. And that extra $1, put it in your pocket, I think. This is definitely the buy. And it's a good buy too. So I'll put up a couple of screen grabs now and you can see what's being advertised. For $9.47, I think that is damn good. These look good, but no, they don't perform anywhere near as well as these taps. And that was fairly thick, quite hard steel, and these handled it without any problem whatsoever. So you can be confident that this is a good set to buy. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. See you next time. Cheers.